Welcome everybody to Pork and Reviews. I'm your host Pork. Today I'm going to be doing a first listen reaction discussion of Tom Holkenborg's Junkie XL score to Army of the Dead. The score just came out on Friday to coincide with the movie's release. Uh, I've seen the movie. I know that there's some parts where the music really stands out, but I've only seen the movie once, so I was kind of just caught up in what was going on in the action. So I wasn't really paying like kind of focused attention on the music. I'm anxious to give this one a listen though. I really like Tom Holkenborg's score to Zack Snyder's Justice League. I thought it was really good. It was a little overlong. It's like he practically scored the entire 4-hour movie. So it can be that was a bit of a chore to listen to in its entirety. Um, Scores like that sometimes you kind of wish they did have kind of an album version, kind of a sum up of like the movie score within like a 70-minute like CD. That being said, as a film score fan, you have to appreciate whenever you can get every single cue of music from a movie. For the longest time, most soundtracks would release with like 45 minutes of a score or 30 minutes of a score. Getting a 3 hour and 54-minute long score, I believe that was for Zack Snyder's Justice League. That was a real treat from a film score fan perspective. That being said, it's impossible to listen to that in one sitting unless you have 4 hours to spare. So, I'm anxious to see how this score is. It doesn't look like it's gonna be every single cue of music. I mean, maybe it might be. I'm not sure. According to the track list here, I'm looking at what's that? About 12, 13 tracks maybe. So, I mean, clearly this is like more geared towards like an album type of listening experience, which I'm okay with. I think Hans Zimmer has said it before, like when he creates the soundtrack album itself, it's not just a matter of just putting every single track on an album, but to create kind of a cohesive listening experience. Um, it just depends on how you have to feel about that. Sometimes there's cues missing from the movies that you hear in the movie, and then you look forward to it when you go to listen to the soundtrack, and the song is not there. Most infamously was like Hans Zimmer's Interstellar score. The No Time for Caution track was absent from the original soundtrack release, and then became available like as a standalone single. But unfortunately, it just wasn't like printed on CD. I know later they recently, in the last like year, created a more expanded score to Interstellar that contained that track. But when you're amped up from watching a movie and you get home and you want to check out that score and it's missing that one song that you were really looking forward to, it could be a little disappointing. So I see both sides of that. In terms of making sure every single piece of music is there versus creating like a listening experience. So let's see what this one is. I'm really excited about this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and press play. We're gonna just kind of sit through, and I'm gonna listen through this entire score. I'm really excited about it. So let's do this. Oh yeah, this is the opening, the beginning credits of the movie. I remember this. Um, it's it's really cool. Um, for the movie, if you guys haven't seen the movie, this was a fantastic opening credit sequence. Kind of gives you like the storyline or the backstory of what's going on in the movie. It's pretty good. I like that. I like how it quieted down right there. Love it. I love it. This is just, it's such a Snyder way to use a song. This last little like third of this song is fantastic. Pretty good. Pretty good. I like that. I like that. Those breath effects, like kind of in the background, are really cool. This piano melody is pretty good too. So like, you know, most of this track was kind of just building this theme that they have, and now towards the end of it, we're getting kind of this like dark, like ominous, you know, kind of like almost like a looming threat, if you will. They should have just kept these two tracks together and make them like a suite instead of this kind of part one and part two. Um, I like when the kind of the ideas are kind of just like, if it's one idea, you keep it all together. Um, so we're probably definitely looking at a score that it's meant to kind of be listened all at once, more so than like just throwing every single track. The way at least these first two score songs are. I guess this is the third track now. Kind of the same like formula for this track. I mean, we're in kind of like the last like third of this song, and we're getting kind of this ominous switch at the end of it after, you know, kind of building up this theme, that like 4-note theme, I think it is. Yeah, that was all right. I mean, it was very similar to the previous track, except uh, like half its length. It seemed like more. It seemed like just pretty much the same thing. It wasn't that much different. See, and this is another part. Like they switched it to a. This is like the fourth track. You know, this is Scott and K Part 3, but they should have just kept it all together instead of like, having this gap because clearly it's just one long suite. Now we're getting some kind of static feedback in the background of this. There's not anything wrong with my audio. I promise it's part of the track. I might be being picky, but I don't like this. It sounds too much like a crappy MP3 from back in the early like Napster, Limelight, Kazaa days. Are we finally getting something a little different? It seems to be like kind of one of those like type of just like almost like ambient music like type of tracks. What I was doing is just kind of putting some like background noise in, probably to a quieter scene. Not usually a big fan of these. It's only good if it pays off into something. It just always feels like it's building up to something, building up to something, building up to something. Many times they don't. They just end. Alright. All that build up. See, that's what I'm talking about. Not a big fan of those type of tracks. All that build up for what? It's one of those real short songs, the real short tracks if you're into that type of stuff where it's like it builds up, you get something really good going, and then it lasts like a minute, and then it's over. It's alright. Ooh, sounds like we're getting a bit of an anthem. Game, I love anthems. We were getting this kind of build up, this kind of anthem going, and it's gone. I like that we're getting kind of this like consistent like rhythm at least. All right, digging this. You know, this is like kind of one of my kind of complaints with Tom Holkenborg. Sometimes he doesn't know how to keep that kind of like rhythm going, and you know, I understand that he has to score to the action on the scene, but there's a way to score this while still maintaining like kind of like a bass line, so that like music just sounds, the music has some good continuity. And he has this thing where like he'll get into like these rhythm sections, and then like they just stop, and then you know, he rises like the orchestra or the electronics up, but then he cuts the bass line out and then recontinues it. I kind of sometimes wish he kept this like the constant like bass line going. That was probably my favorite track on here so far, in terms of score. That Viva Las Vegas song was amazing though. It's another one of those like kind of ambient tracks, kind of just building up, building up, building up to something. Hopefully something good. That was okay. That's interesting. I don't know. I don't know how. There's like weird little extra sounds in here. Like, you know, leave that for like the movie like sound effects. You know, but it's all in like the background of the score with these kind of like these kind of sound effects and. Alright, finally building to something here. That's right, we're back. We're back to the ambient music. It's like another song that builds to nothing. No, it's kind of this electronic choir piece right now. It's pretty cool. Um, just kind of, I don't want to get too excited. Like, I'll just kind of let's see where this goes. Sounds like another track that's just building and probably not going anywhere. And the last track. I'm still I'm still really waiting for like kind of a big moment to happen in the score, and I don't think it's gonna happen. It's like every single track is building to something that just doesn't come to fruition. This is the big finale of this score, I guess. I don't know what to say. I mean, I have a lot to say. And that's it. Um, yeah, so I mean, yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Uh, I didn't like that soundtrack that much. I mean, the that first song, the Viva Las Vegas, this version that they included in this movie, is actually quite good though. It, really, really, really works well within the context of the film. But in terms of like a standalone listen, it sounds amazing, especially the last third of that song where the melody changes, the music changes. Um, that first song is amazing. The rest of the score, to be honest, very forgettable to me. My issue is most of the score was kind of just building up, building up. It was all build up, and it never really pays off into anything. I mean, the closest we ever get to any sort of like anthem is in the "Not Here" track, and it sounds good, but then the song ends way too early, and then goes right back. Most of this is kind of just this ambient type of build up music, just tension building, which works well for the film. I understand that, but in terms of like a standalone listen, sitting down and listening to this music, uh, I just don't see the experience there. Even me, I can appreciate some good like tension building music, um, but it just felt like it never went anywhere for me. Um, there's there's really good ways to do it too. You know, using the strings and classic, I guess, kind of like horror type of soundtrack. But here, I felt like Tom Holkenborg just kind of used a lot of like electronic like sound effects and just like random noises. And I know the one song, and I think it was Scott and Kate Part 3, where it sounded like you were listening to a really crappy MP3, with all that feedback and noise in the background of the song. If I gotta be honest, it just didn't make for a good listening experience for me. Um, I was really looking for at least some moments of some moments of melodies, which never happened. And I know Tom Holkenborg is capable of doing that. I mean, when I'm listening to a score, and and I understand that I'm biased. This is my personal preference. Um, I like songs. I like moments that really kind of tell their own story. Tom Holkenborg composed a great one for Justice League, the Cyborg becoming human. It's like 11-minute long track, and if you had never seen that movie and you just heard that, you can make kind of a narrative behind it just based on the music that's there. I didn't feel that with any of these songs, any of these tracks on this album. I mean, the first, or I should say, the second through fourth track, kind of like this long suite called Scott and Kate, parts one, two, and three. They could have combined that. I probably understand why they split it all up like this, because when you consolidate all the different parts from these songs, you're only getting like an eight track album here. But these long suites, and it just, I felt like 2, 3, and 4 were all very similar in structure. They kind of just, they had this kind of melody, this kind of theme that they were using for the first third of those tracks, and then at the end, like this, ooh, it's scary. This here goes the zombie threat. It's scary, and all three of them were structured similarly. It never felt like it really went anywhere. Like, I always felt like I was just waiting for this big moment to happen. It just never comes in this soundtrack. And then, like, in terms of like an anthem, where and this is, like I said, this is a personal thing for me. I like the big anthems. Where you look at like the Gladiator theme. I mean, even Tom Holkenborg composed a fantastic one for Justice League. That I felt worked so well, and you know this score was missing that. There's nothing really memorable I'm taking away from this score. The only song on here that's worth like a replay is the title song of Viva Las Vegas. That's the only thing that I'd probably revisit. Everything else is pretty forgettable. I probably will not be adding much from this score into my regular rotation. That's the truth. So I mean, take it how you will, right? If you're into that type of electronic ambient type of sounds, this score is for you. You're gonna love this. This sounds great. If you're new, looking into soundtracks, this one will leave you feeling a little underwhelmed. Um, you know, Another part I have to criticize Tom Holkenborg for, and I noticed this in the Justice League score as well. Uh, in these big action sequences, he, you'll get these like these rhythms like pam 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 pam, and when something happens on screen, he'll stop that completely to rise the music, which is fine, but it kind of like it pulls you out a little bit in terms of it. Why can't you just keep that bass line going? You know, and it works well when you're watching the film. Just when you're listening to it on its own, it just you're feeling it. You're feeling the music. You're feeling the rhythm of it. It's getting your adrenaline going, and then like the bass line just cuts off. The music swells up, and then they'll go right back to it. Bum 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 bum. And he did it a lot in Justice League. He does that a little bit here too. And I only say he only did it a little bit here because there wasn't a whole lot of like action music here. Like I said, it was just a lot of kind of this tension building ambient music. And the truth is just I'm just not the biggest fan of that. I like my melodies. I like my kind of like big set pieces even in music. I like these these tracks, these songs that could tell like story on its own. They stand alone. Like if you pulled it out of this soundtrack and played it on its own, you'd still get a unique listening experience. And this album, in my opinion, was lacking that. Out of 4 stars, I'm gonna have to give this one a 2. And the only reason why I give it a 2 is because that fantastic Viva Las Vegas cover is great. The rest of the soundtrack, honestly, pretty forgettable, pretty cut and paste from anything else at this point. You know, Tom Holkenborg's been a little busy. I want to say I think he scored was it Mortal Kombat, and did he score Mortal Kombat? I could be wrong on that, but he definitely scored like Justice League, this movie. He definitely scored King Kong versus Godzilla. So he's been a little busy. But this one was a little underwhelming for me, and that's the truth. So give it a listen if you want. If you're looking for a recommendation from me, listen to the first song. The rest of it, meh. Truth. Like I can't see me going back and listening to this score in its entirety like ever again. So take it for how it is, right? Anyway, I'll wrap this up. Once again, I'm Pork. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like what you saw here, please like the video, subscribe. I have more content coming like this, more of these type of first listens as new scores and soundtracks get released. I look forward to doing these type of things. So you guys have a great day, and God bless.